Bluedog on Native Americana Audio Cafe.
I've been asking people what this is here, and some people know, you can recognize it. Maybe Alex can't. She's from another generation.
Wow.
And but like, there's a theory, like if you take a seashell and put it to your ear, you'll hear the ocean. If you put this special radio transistor to your ear, you'll hear the sound of Native Americana. And it's kind of magical because it dials up different artists every day. And you guys came up on the dial today. It's kind of off the grid. And
awesome.
So here we got the Bluedog Blues Band. And it's good to have you in the Native Americana Audio Cafe.
Thank you.
Pull up to the espresso bar, all right?
All right. Hi, I am Jodi Buffalohead, singer of Bluedog, one of the co-founders. We got Eric Buffalohead here, founder of Bluedog, guitar player. Alexandria Buffalohead, keyboard, organs, sings, plays guitar. She does all kinds of stuff. And she's a visual artist as well. And we are Bluedog, so we're glad to be here. During this pandemic, it's kind of surreal at first, but always knew that it was coming, you know. But I think how we're doing is, personally, I've been like really busy working with a lot of the tribes and helping keep their clinics and their staff safe, you know, doing it remotely and stuff. So I'm really tired of hearing about COVID. Can't get away from it during the day, at night on the news. And when you invited us to do this music, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, yes, it's nice to release and get back into something I love doing, and we want to start writing again as well. But also just going outside, walking, and I'm doing a lot with the outside garden. I'm adding a lot of solar lights to entertain myself these days.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm missing the gigs though. I mean, it's like every week there's another gig that was canceled. Looking at the calendar, oh, we were going to play here or we're going to play there. Like this last weekend, we were supposed to go to Lincoln and then Bellevue, Iowa. We had a real nice 2-day mini tour set up, and both of those got canceled. So that was kind of disappointing. And here in Minneapolis, we get gigs canceled. So it's just looking down the calendar thinking, when are we ever going to play a gig again? So it makes this kind of fun to actually get together and make some music again.
Yeah, and I think a lot of musicians, it happened to an artist, and we're just opening up that dialogue. How are we going to get it going again? You know, how are we going to get the music started again? How are we going to do the art scene again? Alexandria, would you have it to say anything about this idea?
Yeah, so I think it comes in waves. Being just practicing for this interview has been kind of a blessing and medicine, I think, for me personally. My daytime job, I work at All My Relations Arts Gallery and NACD in Minneapolis, and so we're trying to figure out the same thing. How do we support artists? How do we create space when people are kind of overloaded with things on screens all the time and just everything kind of going to the computers? How do you make things more accessible? How do we switch things to maybe radio through phone trees? Just kind of learning from past organizers and seeing what they did, and like bringing back technology from the 20th century to today.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange portal that we're in. You know, at first, when you guys will play some songs, it seems strange at first, but you're reaching people and you're touching people, and there's something sincere about it. And just playing music, like you said, it's a good release. And I think we as artists and musicians, even though the business has stopped, the business of making the music hasn't, you know, like the art hasn't stopped. Maybe making money from it has, you know, same thing with music. And I think the sooner we start playing, it's better for our spirit, better for the world.
Yeah.
And one thing I was really intrigued with is how fast you guys picked up things. We remember when we did the songwriting session, and all of a sudden you had an album. Tell me about the album.
Oh man. Yes, thank you, Keith. If it wasn't for you, I'd still be sitting there not knowing how to start writing again. So Keith came up to the cities and kind of sparked a fire under us, helped and inspire us to write again. And one of the songs on the new CD, "Look to the Sky," on there, that was with Keith, and you're on quite a few of them, which is really cool, really special. After Keith was up here in the cities, Eric and I went down to New Orleans, and I thought, yeah, it would be nice to go down to some of the older cities and just kind of understand the mixture of cultures, and where a lot of, if there's any remnants of old music down there. And unfortunately, we went down there in August, and it was like hot. Like there's nothing moving. There's no bugs, there's no cats or dogs around. There's hardly any children around. It was really interesting. And we actually stayed in a place on the bayou, hoping to see an alligator every night. Finally saw one our last night, we swear. And then we went and stayed by Bourbon Street, or no, what's it called? Bourbon Street?
Bourbon
Yeah.
Street, yeah.
And had this big outdoor porch. And so the music just started coming. It was just like, who cares what genre it is, just write what's coming out of your heart, your spirit. So after that, it was just like, okay, we need to stop and save some of these other ideas for the next album. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How do you guys, when you took the songs you wrote down in New Orleans, you took them back to the band and you rolled them out then, or were they all written then and ideas, Eric? Or did you have them composed and arranged already?
Pretty much, we had them arranged. We just used a computer and a microphone in the living room. We usually just write with a guitar and a vocal, try not to write with the whole band. And then we brought those recordings to the band and said, well, this is what we want to do. Here's the new records. What do you guys think? And so they just kind of filled in their spots, and we did some changing on the arrangements a little bit, and added guitar solos and piano solos and stuff. We could do that with the whole band. You can't really do that with just one instrument. But pretty much just wrote it in the living room with a guitar.
And then the studio you used up in northern Minneapolis, did you record it all at one time, like the drums and the organ and the keyboards and guitars and things?
Yeah, a lot of it was in the course of a weekend. We did a lot of it. I mean, went in there and did, what they call a scratch track, but a lot of those tracks made it to the record because they were good. The bass line and the drums, we didn't have to do too much fixing on that. And then over the course of a few more weekends, we added some other things went in. Probably the longest part was doing all the vocals.
It always is. Seems like they're the on top of it. They really make sense of songwriting, and they're so important. But I couldn't believe how many songs came out, and they're each distinct. As I listened to the album yesterday, they have their neat songs, and gosh, it's just encouraging to see. Alex, what about the keyboards? Did you find anything in this process that you felt?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. From our sessions with you, with just recording with a mic and playing back, and then once they came back from New Orleans, they had all these songs, and they're like, okay, you got to work on this. You have some homework. You got to figure out your keyword parts. And then from doing that, I kind of figured out on a couple of them some kind of funky bass lines, but through the keyboard, and that was really fun. So I was able to bring some of the influences that I have, I think, to the group and help make it different. And I think we really try to make each song kind of its own thing, so it's not like people are listening to the same song on 12 times in a row.
That's what I noticed, and I like that idea that you guys could write from a riff, or you could write a story, or you could write a topic, and no regards to the genre. Actually, wherever you wrote was a genre, and so.
Yeah.
Did you play the bass on the keyboards then in the studio? Did you play the bass line on the keyboards?
No, but sometimes I think our bass player gets mad at me for playing the lower notes. I think a couple of people have said to me, like, you guys have a really bassy sound, and I think it's because he and I, Tom, our bass player, we kind of layer things, and I think that creates kind of a beefier sound. And then he's got a really cool, is it a 6-string bass?
It's a 5-string.
Or 5-string that gets pretty low. So,
It must make people dance, say, when they hear all that bottom and the drums and the bass, and it's got, you get people grooving.
Yeah, it gets our bass player to get a little too grooving sometimes.
Any particular songs stick out on the album now that you guys are playing it out more and getting requests more, and you like playing live?
For me, it's Stomp Dance, the first one. Like, just even this week, just I forgot I had the CD in my car, and just like I had to keep driving. Like, I ended up driving to St. Paul, and then ended up driving to my parents' house just because I hadn't heard it in so long.
That happened to me too when I heard it. Wow, what I can't, like, it was a great surprise to hear that song again. How about you, Joan, as a singer, which one?
I like Take a Stand, just because of the meaning behind it. I still get chills with it, singing it. It's interesting because when we play around, the Native community, people really get into it. When it's like mainstream people, I don't know if they're shocked or confused. It's just kind of like, it's just really quiet. It's like, it feels like heavy to them maybe, where doing that song around Native people, they're like, yeah, right on, but yeah, non-natives are just like, what was that, because I think
Eric,
it can be, it could be interpreted so many different ways.
I think.
Eric, what about you as a guitarist on and you like playing riffing on all of them? And
Yeah, I mean, I like both the
leads?
songs that they both said. I guess the one I like to play live a lot that really gets a big response is one called My Heart Jumps. It's very much of a Latin influence, Santana influence kind of with the sound. So to me, I really like playing that one because that's right in my ball game where I can just really play ripping solos to it, and people go crazy for that song if you ask me.
Yeah. It was really quite an honor singing with you guys on this album. I actually, every time you teach, you learn. Every time you kind of produce, you learn something. Every time you work with people, it's very humbling in the sense of that the essence of making music and making sounds and songwriting remains at the heart of what you're doing. And that's what happened to us. And it happened really quick, and it was really cool. I always say we're at the crossroads of Minnehaha and Hiawatha. It's a true love story, and a native blues band, Bluedog Blues Band, man, that sounds cool. Tell us about it a little bit more. Tell me about it, or tell the listeners.
Joan.
You said Eric.
About the band or the name or?
Yeah, well, the whole concept, a blues band, that's pretty relic even,
That's true. I mean, because, yes, Micha. Eric was a musician before I knew, he was a musician. That was the second thing I learned about him, because I always swore off musicians for a while, but no offense. But so anyway, when we were putting a band together, Eric had a cover band, and I started wanting to get more involved with it, and it was hard to keep members, so we started writing. It's just like, to me, it was like therapy, medicine for Eric. He was happier when he was doing music, and I totally support that. And so I'm like, let's just start writing our own songs. And this is back in 2004. and we're trying to think of a name, you know, and I always thought, oh, Black Dog would be so cool because we've got, you know, the villages right here in the cities. But then I was like, oh, there's that Zeppelin band, you know, get all confused with that group. And you know, Red Dog's not appropriate. Yellow Dog, I was like, nah. And so I came to like Bluedog, you know, that it's a lake up in Sisseton that we happen to be enrolled at. One of my aunties told me years ago, well, you know, her first language was Dakota. And so I asked her, I said, what do you think of Bluedog? And she says, that's pretty. And to me, that just meant a lot for her to, you know, say it's pretty. And my other aunt said, if everyone gives you any, you know, trouble about it, because well, you used it, just say it's because, you know, of the lake up at Sisseton. And here we were playing a gig a couple years ago over in Minneapolis, and here Kirk Bluedog's granddaughter came up and kind of gave, told us that we had his blessing, you know, that we, he was good with us, you know, representing, having that name. And then I learned later there was a chief named Bluedog, you know, so I was just like, oh boy, you know, so I was glad I didn't get us in trouble. But I wanted a name that was relevant to Native people, that they would recognize it, and also something where mainstream would be able to say it and just remember it, you know. And then doing blues, to me, it was, you know, they say blues is kind of the original music here, right? With non-natives, that's what they call that style, that combination of African and Native and everything between. And I also noticed that the people who listen to blues are mostly older folks, and it makes everybody dance or tap their toe. And it's a, it seems like it's a genre that it's getting lost, you know, for the next generation. And I'm like, hell, I'm Native. I'm used to oppression, you know, being discriminated again. What's the heck? Let's, you know, support the music, you know, in blues as well. But then blues is defined in anything, you know. You have country, you have rock, R&B, it all mixed together. And so I love that you say you're bringing and reviving Americana. That sounds nice.
When really redefining it, because it's like, I think oftentimes people are like, you're not a blues band, you're a blues band, and we're like, no, we're just our own sound. And my dad's talked about the rhythmic beat and similar to his uncles with his drumming style. So yeah, I think what you're saying of like Americana and it's our own kind of sound, I think it is becoming like that itself. I don't know, it's coming together.
Alex, do you notice like the younger generation, the music you guys listen to, and crossroading it, like you say, you gave it a little funky bass line. Any other insights like that?
Yeah, I mean, like the influences that I have or things that I'm seeing kind of with the younger generation.
Both. Both would be interesting to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I can say it now, but I was really blessed that my parents exposed me to good music, because I feel like people my age, they're just now like discovering Stevie Ray Vaughan and like Jimi Hendrix and B.B. King and Buddy Guy. So I feel, yeah, really blessed that that I was shared with that music at such a young age. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, I listened to like 89.3 The Current, and they play like a bunch of like mix of local stuff, funk stuff, Prince. Yeah, listening to other bands here in the Twin Cities has influenced me. National bands, other Native bands have influenced me. And then, yeah, I don't know, like funk music, I don't know what, but it just moves, it moves me. And somehow I want to play it, and I'm trying to figure it out and learn, but yeah.
You're in a good area for it, you know, like by that Mississippi River. And Eric, what was the first guitar you had, and how did you come about playing guitar back there?
Back there. I don't know. I just hung around musicians when I was early teens, and I really liked a lot of different kinds of music. And I just kind of thought to myself, yeah, I could do that. That could be a fun thing to do. And so I started, picking up the guitar, and when I was a teenager, and got pretty serious right after I graduated high school about playing. And I still have my first guitar. It's a 1985 Fender Stratocaster. It's on the guitar stand in the studio right now, sitting down in the studio. So I still have it. Um, it's not my favorite guitar anymore because it was, it was all right. I like Paul Reed Smith and Gibson and other guitars more now for live performances, but that's kind of the first one. It's I thought about selling it a few times, and then I'm gonna keep this one. I might not play it that much, but it's special. That's where all that learning occurred for me, to learn how to become a guitar player, and all the time. I mean, people always ask me, well, how long does it take to play guitar? It's like, well, how much time do you have to learn how to play? Because I don't think I was a good player for at least 5 years. I could play chords and stuff, but after about 5 years, then I all of a sudden noticed that people I started with were still kind of doing the same thing, and I was soaring way above them. So it took me a while to learn how to play, but I think I can play it pretty good now. Some stuff.
Well, encourage listeners to go to the site and get the album, because each one of these artists have their own feature in it, and to hear some of them wailing blues and that fretwork that you're doing in it is really quite respectful and honorable, as a guitarist to hear that. I always say I teach people the 2 chords of life, and that's a D, N, A.
Oh, DNA. I like that.
That's good.
But how about a song today? What do you guys think? We'll try to pull off something live here in the Audio Cafe.
All right.
We're Bluedog, and we're going to play Take a Stand for You on Audio Cafe.
All right. Okay, let's hear it.
I need you. You need me. Together we can set her free. You need me. I need you. Divide and conquer is not a way. Stand together day by day. Stand together, hear us pray. And it's all greed. Live today and not forever. Let her bleed. She won't recover. Stand together, hear a pray. Take a stand. Take a stand. Together we can take a stand. Yeah. Pray. We can't fight alone, give us strength. We need our protectors from all directions. We can't fight alone, give us strength. Take a stand. Take a stand. Together we can take a stand.
it's quite a feature, and we will take a stand. I think it's about coming together. What's the point of view of that song?
It is about take a stand. I mean, this is written before, you know, all this chaos we're right, you know, going out. I was just talking about the earth, Mother Earth, you know, how, you know, we're really abusing her, and it can't just be, you know, on the backs of indigenous peoples. It's got to be everyone, you know, to come together and make a change. And now today, maybe it's also about the political, you know, environment too. It's just everything. It's just, you know, gotta, yeah. So yeah, this one's now you're gonna make me cry if I start really getting into it.
You can cry, that's all right, but you know, I think the sincerity comes through, and what I see is the musicians are weaving the tapestry in the story of this broader genre called Native Americana, and every artist has a story. Everybody defines it.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like we're giving the answer right out on the first page either. You know, like let people work for it and let them
Yeah.
listen for it.
Make them think. Use the brain.
Yeah.
And that's what your guys' songwriting, it does. So that's all right to show passion.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're Bluedog, and we're going to play Stomp Dance on Native Americana Audio Cafe.
Wow, that's good. See how fast you learn?
Stomp your feet. Get on the floor. Shake, shake, shake. Let's groove some more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, 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 ah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ah, ah, ah. Young and old, they're heading to the creek. It's getting late, but they don't care. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, ah, ah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, ah, ah. Down in the creek, it's 2 a.m. It's getting late, but we don't care. Live today, don't bank tomorrow. Shake, shake, shake. We just begun. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, 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 ah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
That comes off really good acoustic like that.
Oh, that's
That was so cool. I had to put on sunglasses to listen to it.
I know. I gotta take a picture of that.
Yeah, that one works good as an acoustic song. I like it on the acoustic.
I'm gonna take a picture, guys.
I like songs like that too. And I guess I really appreciate you guys coming on and playing a few songs today and sharing the music in your living room. And how about the art scene? Have any talk over there at the art gallery that you work at, Alex?
Yeah, so we're trying to switch things, like do kind of like film short animation screenings and do like Q&As with the audience and have like a smaller like Zoom group, and then maybe archive it so then if people miss it, they can still watch it. Someone else, I'm trying to think, this artist, Lady Midnight, she does like spoken word and stuff. She had this cool idea of doing open mics and then working with like an artist to live paint. And so the visual part would be the artist creating artwork and then working with people doing spoken word or playing music live. So I think virtually we have to kind of figure out the technology with the sound, but I think it's gonna get there. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think that we're learning. You know, all I know that is either music is either you're talking about it or you're doing it, and so we got to start to do it in some fashion. You know, I think it's easy to get confused and get not to want to play it, but you just kind of get your calluses back and start pushing again, you know, and opening up things and sharing the music. And that's what
Yeah.
you guys did today. That was really a beautiful thing. And any last encouraging words or how we get a hold of you guys? If you got an album or a CD, you could put it in front of the screen somewhere.
You want to go grab it?
Yeah, go grab it and
In the
tell us how.
studio?
Yeah, tell us how you get a hold of it.
In the case downstairs.
BlueDogNativeBlues.com with our website.
There you can email us from our website.
Yeah, and Facebook information's on there too. When Alex gets back, she knows the address for that. And final words I want to say is like what I'm seeing in Indian country right now is they're transforming everything, right? You know, education, housing, emergency services, medical services, to be safe, you know, because they're talking about this pandemic coming back in another wave and for future disasters. And I think that the way the tribes are building their infrastructure, all the IT stuff, I think that will trickle down to some of the, there you go.
Yeah.
Some of the, for the art, the music arena, definitely. And that's what I get to do. Tomorrow I'm going to South Dakota. Gonna go talk with my cousin who's on the council, but you know, they're still running their clinic. They still have their store going on, you know, but we're just I'm talking to them about work with my day job with Indigenous Pact. That's what we do. We just try to support and get all the resources together and figure out for Indian country. And music and art is way, as you know, is part of medicine, part of healing. You know, it's part of a community. So we can't be left behind. No way.
No,
we won't.
It's important. Eric, any last words here today?
I think people just need to stay positive. I think, I mean, everything will be all right at some point, and keep doing your music, keep doing your art, keep doing that creative expression, because there's going to be a place for a lot of it to be seen and heard, and we're going to be able to share those things. It's just going to take a while, I think.
All right. Alex, I guess I let you close the
Facebook address too.
Oh yeah, so you can find us on Facebook, Bluedog Blues Band. Yeah, I mean, what my parents said, just being positive. I think it was maybe Judith LeBlanc who said on a call to, like, 1, take care of yourself, 2, take care of your family, and 3, take care of your community in whatever way you can. So I think just thinking of those things, well, and then just being positive, trying to eat healthy, and I'm trying to apply this to myself. Go outside and exercise, and monitor my screen time.
Yeah, that's good. I think I try to keep these down short, but you guys have a lot to say and a lot to play. And we don't want to just do a soundbite, because these are great archival pieces that, will be couched, and people can look at them and share them, and you guys can be seen, and our ancestors will be able to, our children's children's children will be able to see them.
Yeah.
And so it's important. Want to take us out, Joni, with a little shout out to the band? Give us a Native Americana Audio Cafe shout out, okay?
My shout out is what again? To Bluedog.
To our bandmates,
To our bandmates.
Grandpa Bud,
Oops.
our number one fan.
Okay, shout out to everybody. Give
right.
people a thanks.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our family, our friends, our biggest fan, my dad, Bud Weston, our bandmates who are quarantined right now, Tom Cease and Greg Mans, and a big thank you to Kisa Kola, of course. And you're listening. We're Bluedog. I'm Joni, Alex, Eric. You're listening to Americana Audio Cafe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just text me whenever you're done with this, and I'll be back on.
Oh, our cats. Shh.
And then Bellevue, Iowa, we have real nice
Today it's kind of off the grid
stuff. We could do that with the whole band. You can't really do that with just one instrument. But in the living room with a guitar.
Hi, this is Bluedog's acoustic set. We are playing Take a Stand on Native America.
Wait, I got a special take thing. Take.